Okay, hello there, and welcome to this information session on RNAO's Advanced Clinical Practice Fellowship Program offered by the International Affairs and Best Practice Guideline Center. So this morning, it will be myself, Tasha Penny, Manager of Research and Evaluation at RNAO, and Erica D'Souza, Project Coordinator for ACPF, that will be leading this information session. So in today's information session, we're going to cover a few general things about ACPF. So first, I'll talk a little bit about what the ACPF program is, help you to identify the eligibility requirements for participating, help you to recognize what the three key elements of the fellowship is, and then go over the four types of fellowship so that you have an idea of which type might better suit your needs. As well, help you to understand the application, review, and selection process. And finally, I'll end with on a slide where you can go for extra support and resources. All right, so let's start with what is ACPF? So ACPF is RNAO Fellowship Program, which has three main benefits. First, it allows for a unique opportunity for registered nurses and nurse practitioners to meet a specific learning need within the organization with the organization's and RNAO support. It also fosters a nurse mentoring opportunity because one of the criteria for this fellowship is that the applicant has a mentor. And finally, it helps the nurses organization improve patient care by way of educational development or further development of knowledge and skills of the nursing staff. So that's pretty much what ACPF is in a nutshell. But I am going to go over some of these elements in greater detail. Okay, so what are the eligibility requirements? For those of you who are interested in applying for a fellowship, you just have to know that you have to be either a registered nurse or nurse practitioner living or working in Ontario, and you need to have 1 year minimum nursing experience. You can be working full-time or part-time, but your organization has to agree to allow you to dedicate 450 hours to the ACPF fellowship. You have to be able to identify mentors in the area of focus that you can work with, and you really need to have your employer's support. I will get into a little bit more detail later about what that employer support is, but overall, they need to be able to give you the financial means to complete the fellowship. As well, it is better if you're working within a culture of learning so that you are supported by senior management and the goals. All right, so this brings me to one of the three key elements of the fellowship. So firstly, it's the applicant. And just so you know, in the proposal, the applicant is referred to as the fellow. So the applicant is the RN or NP who drives the fellowship by various ways. This person develops and submits the proposal to RNAO. They make sure that their learning objectives are met throughout the fellowship. They include their organization in the entire process, from the development of the proposal to the fellowship activities to the very end when we provide an executive summary to RNAO. The applicant also acts as being mentor or mentors throughout the fellowship as indicated in the proposal. And then finally, the applicant or fellow is responsible for submitting the final report and executive summary to RNAO at the end of the fellowship. The second key element is your mentor. So they play a critical role because they provide feedback and suggestions about your learning goal and your learning plan. They help educate you in a specialty area of practice. And if you're going to be doing job shadowing or guided site visits, some of your fellowship activities, this is the person that is able to facilitate that. And really, the mentor monitors your progress throughout the whole fellowship and should be meeting with you regularly to make sure that you're on track. They will participate in the evaluation of your learning plan outcomes, and we do have a workshop just specifically on the learning plan that will be coming in the near future. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in that workshop. And they also assist in the completion of the final report that I had mentioned, and many more activities that you can identify that they can help you with. So before I move on to our third element, I just want to speak a little bit more about the mentor, because we are asked quite often who should be the primary mentor. So the primary mentor in your fellowship should be a nurse who's prepared at a master's level. But just so you know, this nurse doesn't have to have a master's in nursing, just a master's degree of some kind. There's somebody that should have expertise in the fellowship topic that you've identified, and of course someone who wants to be a mentor and will dedicate time to support you. This individual should also be willing to help you prepare your proposal, meet with you frequently, provide feedback, and participate in evaluation activities of your fellowship. Now, some people decide that they need more than just the primary mentor to help them through the fellowship, and this is more than okay. So you can develop a mentorship team. So you still have to have the primary mentor as indicated in the slide before, but you can also identify other people who have a range of educational or professional background that can assist your learning. These individuals can be external to your organization as well, and they can either have clinical expertise and or research expertise in the topic area. So this brings me to the third and last element of your fellowship, and this is your organization. And just so you're aware, in the proposal, your organization is referred to as the sponsor organization. So they're important because they help you match your learning goal to a need within the organization. And it's very important that whatever you've decided that you want to learn actually can translate back to your organization for long-term sustainability. The organization will provide you with release time from your regular duties, so the 450 hours for the duration of the fellowship. They also supplement funding for ACPF, and they have to agree to provide a minimum of $5,000. They ensure you have the necessary human and material resources and support. So within your organization, senior management is actually accountable to make sure that you are successful in this fellowship. And they do this by way of letters of support, which is addressed in another workshop in the future. Your organization will demonstrate support for you, your fellowship activities, and any long-term sustainability of skills and knowledge gained. Okay, so what are the fellowship types? So I mentioned earlier that there are 4 types of fellowship, and they include the clinical fellowship, leadership fellowship, the best practice guideline implementation fellowship, and then our newest fellowship, the AMS RNAO fellowship. So I'll just briefly go over what these 4 types include. So the clinical fellowship focuses on the actual direct development of clinical skills, knowledge, and expertise. So in this type of fellowship, the applicant is interested on expanding on their knowledge within their clinical practice. I have 2 examples there on the bottom of the screen from past proposals. So one being chronic pain management in a substance-dependent population, and then pressure ulcer prevention in the adult acute care setting. So in this one, the applicant was interested on learning more on how to prevent pressure ulcers. The leadership fellowship focuses on the development of skills and expertise that support nursing practice and the profession of nursing. And there are 4 areas of the leadership fellowship that you can choose from. And they include leadership in education, in management, in research, and in policy. So I'll just go over these 4 areas very briefly. So for leadership in education, this is focused on either nursing education and or client education, and I have an example there from a past proposal. So this individual is interested in learning strategies to best implement a pediatric palliative care education program for nurses on this inpatient unit. The other leadership stream is management, and it's focused on leadership in patient care programs, management of human resources, implementing and maintaining clinical programs, and program development. So the example that we've seen before is developing skills in the development of strategic plans, program development, and program evaluation. And the example here was in prevention and early intervention program for psychosis. Leadership in the research stream is focused on all areas of research, which includes application, utilization, dissemination, transfer, uptake, process, and the conduct of actual research. So a good example of this one was a proposal we saw enhancing the skills to develop a research proposal. So specifically, the skill to be able to do a retrospective review of outcomes of infants with short bowel syndrome. And then finally, leadership in the policy stream is focused on areas of policy formulation, advocacy, and change management. So an example that we've seen in this stream is a proposal on advocacy and change management in the area of supporting increased breastfeeding environments. So our third fellowship type is Best Practice Guideline Implementation Fellowship, and this one is a quite popular one, I would say. And it's focused on increasing capacity in the nursing profession for evidence-based practice and skills in knowledge transfer, uptake, and implementation of RNAO guidelines. So an example here is supporting best practice for patient care and multiple branch implementation of the RNAO assessment and management of pain best practice guidelines. So in this type of fellowship, the applicants are very interested on how to either implement a best practice, learn how to implement a best practice guideline, or use various aspects of the BPG. And as you probably know, all of our published clinical and healthy work environment guidelines are available on our website. And now this brings me to our fourth and final type of fellowship. As I mentioned, it's quite new. It's called the AMS RNAO Fellowship. AMS stands for Associated Medical Services, and they're a small Canadian charity organization that has partnered with RNAO to offer 8 fellowships of this type a year for 3 years. Now this fellowship focuses on either sustaining, enabling, or supporting humane, compassionate person-centered care in nursing practice. And it asks you to focus on one of 3 core themes, which I'll get to in the next slide. But I just want to highlight the example here for a proposal topic is providing compassionate client-centered care to patients with dementia in a long-term care facility. So now the core themes identified by AMS are self-identity, education, and work environments. You'll notice that these core themes will have been integrated in the RFP, which will be just slightly different from the RFP for the other 3 types of fellowships. And in this proposal, you'll be asked to highlight one of these core themes upon which your learning is focused. And I won't read out what these core themes are because they're on the slide, but if you just quickly look, the self-identity theme is things that will help sustain compassionate care. The education core theme is activities that enable compassionate care. And then the work environment core theme are development of work environments that support compassionate care. Now there will be future workshops that will go more in depth about these types of fellowships, specifically this AMS fellowship. Okay, so what is the application review and selection process for ACPF? So applicants have to submit a detailed proposal, and in this proposal it will ask you for information around yourself, the fellow, your mentor, and your mentoring team, and information on your organization and the support that they'll be providing. You'll outline the need for the project, and you will also provide a detailed budget outlining how funding will be allocated. You'll provide a learning plan, which will clearly outline your learning goal, the objectives, your strategies for meeting your learning goal, the outcomes, and then how those outcomes will be evaluated. And as I mentioned before, there will be a workshop specifically on the learning plan that goes through each and every one of these sections. So in terms of requests for proposals, they typically happen twice a year at RNAO. So one is usually issued in November with a due date in mid-January, and then the other one is typically issued in March with a due date in mid-May. However, just be aware that a third RFP may be released, based on the number of previously awarded fellowships. So once the applicant has submitted the proposal, what we do is we send them to external reviewers. So these external reviewers, they're usually previous fellowship participants who want to volunteer, and or people who work at various BPSOs. So these external reviewers, they go through each proposal and they review it based on a detailed scoring system. Once we receive those reviews back, we do integrated reliability testing here at RNAO, and depending on the level of agreement, we might have a group review to come to consensus. After that's done, all applicants are notified whether their proposals have been accepted or declined. And for those proposals that are accepted, please be aware that it's pretty standard practice that there might be some additional revisions required before they can begin the fellowship. And then for those that are declined, we really do provide detailed feedback on what areas could be strengthened, and we do encourage that people try again in the next cycle. Overall, selections made by RNAO are based on the total score from the external reviewers, as well as the funding available and any revisions required. So when we ask for revisions, that applicant is given a certain amount of time to complete those revisions, and if they do and they're satisfactory, then they can start the fellowship. So where can you go for extra support? And I would recommend that you do tap into these areas of support to make sure that your proposal is successful. So you can request a proposal guide, and really this is the RFP, and it's very, very detailed on what exactly needs to go into the application. And my recommendation to any applicant would be to follow this RFP to a T. There's also the proposal template. There's our workshops, and they're live as well. We started something new in this cycle. We're going to start recording these workshops, archiving them, and then posting them to our website, because we understand that a lot of frontline nurses are quite busy and might not be able to attend the live workshops, and we really want to extend our audience. Now, on our website, I've provided a link there. It's the same link, but you can find information sheets for mentors and managers that you can provide to people that you're considering to ask to be your mentor or to your senior management. And then there's a questionnaire, what's my stream? And this will help you identify really what fellowship type you should focus on. And then you can always ask Erica D'Souza for samples of successful proposal elements, and she will send that to you. Okay, so if you are interested in applying, I would recommend that you either attend the live workshops or listen to the recorded workshops on Focusing the Fellowship, which is a workshop where we really focus in on how to develop a learning goal. Then there's a workshop all about learning plans, and this is where we go into detail about every element of the learning plan to help you be successful. And then we hold question and answer sessions. Now these question and answer sessions will always be live, and the idea will be that applicants will have either attended or listened to the previous workshops and will come to these Q&A sessions to help refine their proposal or ask us any questions to help them be successful. We do recommend that if you've already identified mentors or senior management that can support you, that you ask them to also attend these workshops or listen to them on their own time. And you can check our events calendar on our website to see when the dates are for those. So So before I end this session, I just want to highlight a few important dates that are coming up quite quickly. So our official RFP is being released on our website with a link there on November 2nd, 2015. You'll be asked, if you're interested, to submit an intent to submit by January 8th, 2016, and then the actual proposal deadline is January 15th, 2016. So thank you for listening. Again, if you have any questions, please contact Erica D'Souza. Thank you.